Welcome to Film Recaps, the channel dedicated to bringing you the highlights of your favorite movies. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below if you'd like us to keep creating these videos. A voiceover accompanied by sketches describes how, many years ago, in the 100-acre wood, the young boy Christopher Robin discovered and befriended the anthropomorphic creatures Winnie-the-Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit, and Owl. Christopher brought them food regularly and provided them with human guidance until he left to attend college and his visit ceased. The creatures were left alone without their regular food source. With the arrival of winter, Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit, and Owl went into extreme starvation and chilled and ate Eeyore. The trauma of this event caused the surviving creatures to hate all humans, especially Christopher, and reject everything human-related. They abandoned their humanity, returned to their feral instincts, and vowed never to speak again. 5 years later. Now in his 20s, Christopher hikes through the 100-acre wood with his fiancée Mary, looking and calling for Pooh, Piglet, and the other animals. After his long absence, Christopher seeks to reconnect with his old friends and introduce them to Mary, the first and only person he has ever brought to the wood. Christopher enthusiastically describes the fun he used to have with his friends and happily looks forward to seeing them again. Mary skeptically opines that Christopher's stories are imaginary fantasies but initially humors him. At the same time, he insists that Pooh and the others are real. Christopher becomes concerned and agitated when he cannot find his old friends and fears something terrible has happened to them. The couple comes upon several ominous items, including a tombstone labeled Eeyore, before arriving at the treehouse where Christopher used to play with his friends, now bigger, creepy, and seemingly deserted. Frightened, Mary repeatedly begs Christopher to leave. Still, he refuses, saying he's got to find out what happened and continuing to search. Suddenly, Piglet, the giant anthropomorphic boar, leaps out and strangles Mary to death with a chain in front of a horrified Christopher, who then tries to run but is captured and dragged away by Piglet and the equally hulking Pooh. Meanwhile, in a nearby city, university student Maria gets counseling to help her recover from the trauma caused by a stalker. Maria's therapist suggests she take some time to get away in a relaxing setting. Maria and her friends Jess, Alice, Zoe, and Laura subsequently traveled by car to the 100-acre wood, where they rent a short holiday cabin. Maria gets lost on the way and stops at an isolated garage in the woods for directions, which seems deserted until she is startled by the garage attendant. In her hurry to leave, Maria bumps into Charlene, a pretty, fashionable woman who has just entered the garage. The 5 girls finally arrive at their luxury rental. Jess insists that all the girls hand over their mobile phones to properly disconnect from the outside world, including social media. Laura objects, but Jess prevails and puts all the phones into a drawer. The girls then go to their rooms. Laura changes into a bikini. Alice, who is in love with Zoe, has arranged flower petals on her bed in a surprise romantic gesture. Still, Zoe expresses reticence about their relationship, saying she's not ready. The girls wonder about the whereabouts of their friend Tina, who was supposed to join them and has not arrived. Unbeknownst to them, Tina, driving her own car, has gotten lost in the woods and has been telephoning them to ask for directions. Still, her calls go unanswered because the girls are without their phones. Pooh finds Tina and chases her through the woods into an abandoned workshop, where he captures her, rips off her shirt, and murders her by feeding her into a wood chipper. Pooh then returns to his treehouse, where he has imprisoned and bound Christopher and tortures him by spraying him with his dead fiancée's blood. Christopher begs to be released, reminding Pooh of the good times they shared in the past. Pooh endearingly pictures the child Christopher speaking to him and, maddened by the memory, whoops Christopher with Eeyore's tail and leaves him alone with Mary's skeleton, Pooh and Piglet having eaten her flesh. That night, Laura relaxes in the outdoor hot tub, taking selfies with her phone, which she could not go without. One selfie inadvertently captures the image of Pooh watching her from a distance, which Lara notices but dismisses. The other girls gather inside to support Maria as she recounts her story of being stalked by a man who eventually broke into her room and molested her while she was sleeping. Pooh and Piglet kidnap, bind, and gag Lara, and Pooh kills her by slowly driving a car over her head, crushing her skull. Hearing a noise, Maria and Jess go outside to investigate, find Lara's mangled corpse in the driveway, and rush back inside to warn Alice and Zoe. Fearful that the killers have gotten into the house, the girls begin to make their way slowly through the house but are attacked by Pooh and separated, with Alice and Zoe ending up by the indoor pool. Piglet attacks Alice and Zoe with a sledgehammer, knocking Alice unconscious before killing Zoe in the pool. Alice regains consciousness just in time to see Piglet finish off Zoe by decapitating her with the hammer. Pooh and Piglet then carry Alice away, saved by Maria and Jess, who take an old gun they found in the house and follow them back to Pooh's treehouse. Maria and Jess sneak into the treehouse, find Alice tied up, and free her. They also release Christopher and Charlene, who were kidnapped and abused by Piglet after he killed her husband, Scott. While the group is trying to escape, the half-crazed Charlene sees the reflection of her battered, now deformed face and snaps, grabbing Maria's gun and summoning Piglet to kill them. The weapon fails, Pooh subdues her, and Piglet mauls her to death. Pooh chases Maria and Jess into the woods. Still, Alice stays behind and hides, emerging to restrain Piglet with chains and then bludgeon him slowly to death with his sledgehammer. Pooh hears Piglet's dying screams and rushes back to the treehouse, too late to save him. Enraged, Pooh kills Alice by ramming a large knife into her mouth and through her skull, impaling her to the wall. Maria and Jess meanwhile run to the road and flag down a car driven by dim-witted local men, Logan, Tucker, John, and Colt. Instead of driving away with the girls, the men decide to fight Pooh. When he returns, the men threaten and challenge him, but he kills them one by one. Maria and Jess lock themselves in the men's car, and Maria tries to run Pooh over. Still, he manages to climb into the vehicle, causing the terrified Maria to crash into a tree. In her dazed state after the crash, Maria sees Pooh yank Jess from the passenger seat, decapitate her, and throw her bloody head onto the car's windshield. Pooh then attacks Maria, but Christopher Robin suddenly appears, driving another vehicle and crushes Pooh between the two cars, appearing to kill them. Christopher rushes to embrace the overwrought Maria, but Pooh, who is not dead after all, seizes her and threatens her with his knife. Christopher pleads with Pooh to let Maria go, and in return, Christopher swears he will spend the rest of his life with Pooh in the 100-acre wood. Pooh pauses momentarily, then breaks his vow never to speak by reminding Christopher, "You left." Pooh fatally cuts Maria's throat and repeatedly stabs her body as Christopher flees for his life.